2024 Lotus Emeya First Look Review, Taycan the Fight to Porsche. The new Lotus Emeya takes the potency of the Eletre and adds comfort and class. Lotus has a storied history in automobiles, and like most other exotic brands, it's making the move to electric cars while trying to incorporate its identity, past and present, into modern offerings. And if the company's Eletre Hyper SUV is the heavyweight in the range, the latest offering is somewhere in the middle. The 2025 Lotus Emeya is the brand's first electric Hyper GT, and it will step into the role of flagship model when it arrives. The name, Emeya, denotes ambition and commitment to success, which surely references Lotus' vision to become a global performance brand by 2028. Whether it has successfully merged horsepower with four-door luxury and comfort in the Emeya remains to be. Sports car DNA courtesy of 905 Scene. When is the 2025 Lotus Emeya coming out? Although a release date for the Lotus Emeya hasn't been specified, the company notes that production is scheduled for 2024. With such a broad timeframe, it's likely the USA will see models arriving for 2025. 2025 Lotus Emeya price and competition. There's no concrete price for the 2024 Lotus Emeya just yet, but it's likely to require a layout of at least 6 figures. Using the Eletre as a guide, base models will possibly cost around $120,000, with higher trims asking as much as $150,000. This puts the 2025 Emeya in an interesting position next to rivals like Porsche, since the Taycan Turbo S, making less power at just 750 horsepower, has a sky-high MSRP of $194,900. Even the Audi RS e-tron GT has a starting cost of under $150,000, and its specs are less impressive: 637 horsepower and a 3.1-second sprint to 60 miles per hour. Jaguar will also bring a 4-door Super GT to the table at some point in the near future. Perhaps the only EV that really compares in terms of performance is the much less exotic Tesla Model S Plaid. It has a sticker price under $90,000, makes 1,020 horsepower, and can dispatch 0 to 60 mph in a smidge under 2 seconds. New Lotus Emeya exterior and colors. The unique look of the new Lotus Emeya 4-door Hyper GT has divided opinions in the car buzz office. While some feel it looks generic and a little bland, others appreciate the sleek lines. It's far from emotive, however. The front borrows a lot from the Eletre SUV, although the headlight clusters are entirely different. 2 sets of parallel lines above the grille identify the Emeya from a distance, and the grille itself is an active grille as seen on the Eletre. This helps to reduce drag and increase efficiency, as well as providing cooling for the batteries and braking system. The Lotus Emeya also sports an active air dam that ensures downforce at high speeds for excellent stability at the front end. The rear of the Emeya has a sloping roofline that gives it a crossover coupe look, which isn't out of pocket. Considering the Emeya shares a platform with its SUV sibling, the Eletre. The tail sports an active dual-layer rear spoiler, which is almost 11.7 inches wide, almost 4 inches wider than the spoiler on the Eletre. The automaker says this ensures a net downforce of more than 470 pounds. An active rear diffuser is also present, which serves to direct airflow underneath the car. Together with a total of 8 vents around the Emeya, its clear Lotus focus was on aerodynamics, while the looks played second fiddle. Still, the package isn't unattractive. Wheel sizes are expected to range from 20 to 23-inch items, as on the Eletre. We don't have confirmation exterior colors for the Lotus Emeya, although its resemblance to the Eletre may make it easy for the automaker to carry over customization options like the limited color palette. These options include Natron Red, Galloway Green, Stellar Black, Kaimu Gray, Blossom Gray, and that iconic solar yellow we know so well.
Lotus Emeya dimensions. Lotus hasn't shared dimensions for the Emeya, but we know it's built on the same platform as the Eletre, which should mean it's similar in some metrics. The wheelbase of the SUV is 118.9 inches, while the overall length is over 200 inches. The Emeya is likely to be a little under that in terms of length, and width should come in at a max of around 85 inches, a little narrower than the Eletre. It will sit much lower to the ground, so the Eletre's height of around 65 inches isn't likely to carry over. In terms of curb weight, the electric Hyper GT isn't going to be a featherweight, but it will definitely not weigh as much as its SUV sibling, which can weigh as much as 5,800 pounds. Lotus Emeya powertrain and performance. Lotus makes it clear that the point of the Emeya is to go fast, and in order to reach high top speeds and achieve the claimed acceleration specs, it comes equipped with the same setup that powers the Eliter. The powertrain for the Lotus Emeya is a high-power dual-motor setup that makes up to 905 horsepower, 675 kilowatts, and 726 pound-feet of torque, 985 newton-meters. This is enough to go from 0 to 62 mph in under 2.8 seconds. Passing power is towering. The Emeya will get from 50–75 miles per hour in under 2 seconds. The Lotus Emeya will come with full-time all-wheel drive, a 2-speed transmission, and the brand's intelligent torque distribution system. Race-grade brakes will bring the Hyper GT to a stop when you're chasing the 159 mph top speed. Lotus does make reference to the top-spec model getting this setup, however, so the chances of a less powerful model at the entry point to the range seem likely. Of course, all the aerodynamic gadgetry on the exterior of the Emeya will come into play here, with the active front grille, rear diffuser, and rear spoiler playing their part in keeping the car glued to the ground. Lotus calls the low center of gravity the Emeya possesses the hyperstance, which is said to enhance stability and improve ride and handling at speed. All of the tech used here is evidence of the automakers striving to merge the concepts of electric propulsion with the passion for driving and resulting performance as the cherry on the cake. These bits and pieces are modern iterations of the innovative technology that saw Lotus succeed on the racetrack. Comfort isn't left out, however, and while performance is certainly front of thought here, the electronically controlled air suspension uses onboard sensors to read the road 1,000 times per second and adjust the vehicle's responses accordingly. This will have a positive impact on how the Emeya feels on more leisurely cruises, range, charging, and battery life. Actual figures and range are still under wraps, but Lotus says we can expect broadly the same range as the Eliter. The most potent version of that car has a range of 304 miles on a charge, while the meeker versions can go up to 373 miles. As for charging capacity, the automaker states that the Emeya will boast market-leading charging capabilities, with a 10–80% charge achievable in just 18 minutes. Owners will be able to add 93 miles of range in just 5 minutes when connected to a 350 kilowatt DC fast charger.
Lotus Emeya interior and cargo. The interior of the Lotus Emeya promises to be both luxurious and tech-forward, and from what we can see in press materials, will be a roomy, ergonomically oriented space. The Lotus Emeya seats only 4 passengers, with rear seat occupants getting individual seats instead of a sculpted bench. Up front, occupants will likely get the lion's share of space for head and legroom, but all perches will be covered in high-quality materials. Speaking of which, Lotus emphasizes the tactile surfaces will embody a luxury feel, but it's also important for customers to know that the brand has consciously designed the cabin with advanced sustainable materials and the Emeya uses a luxury thread that's made from repurposed fibers, cotton, and offcuts from the fashion and garment industry. The result is a fabric that feels high-end and is lighter, and more eco-friendly than standard leather. Other materials that will feature, whether standard or optional, include PVD aluminum, Alcantara, Napa leather, and Ultra Fabrics PU. Tech will feature prominently inside the Lotus Emeya, with an immersive and intuitive infotainment system doing the hard work, according to the carmaker. The audio setup has been designed in conjunction with KEF, and the speakers feature the award-winning UniQ design and Unicore space-saving subwoofer technology. As on the Eliter, Dolby Atmos 3D surround sound quality is the norm. The 15.1-inch high-definition OLED screen we know from the Eliter also does duty here, and the pictures also show off a front passenger interface in the dashboard. Whether that will be standard, available on higher trims, or optional remains to be seen. We do know that a 55-inch projected augmented reality head-up display is included, however. Some of the other tech worth mentioning includes the integrated noise cancellation system that uses vibration sensors to detect certain levels of vibration from the wheels. It responds by generating anti-phase acoustic signals through the speakers that counteract interference. Like the Eliter, we expect the Emeya to be fully loaded, especially in more expensive trims, with safety features and driver assists. Lotus confirms that real-time road info with navigation, advanced driver assistance, obstacle forward collision alert, and blind spot monitoring are all present. Warning, lane departure warning. We're not sure what to expect in terms of cargo space, and in this regard, the Lotus Emeya is likely to offer much less than what the Eliter does, which is between 22 and 54 cubes in the back, and another cubic foot and a half in the front.
वीडियो को लाइक करें, कमेंट करें, शेयर करें और सब्सक्राइब जरूर करें।